Good afternoon, y'all. On behalf of the Austin chapter and our host committee, it's my pleasure to welcome all y'all to Austin. We're truly honored that you've joined us here in Austin today. I'm sure many of you have already gotten to enjoy the hospitality and spirit that make Austin such a special place. I want to take a moment to recognize and thank the many volunteers, committee members, chapter leaders, and others who have helped behind the scenes to make this event possible. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to our current president, Bill McQuaid, for his leadership, commitment, and service to our organization. Bill, we are grateful for everything you've done to move us forward and strengthen this community. Bill must like Austin because he is not only here now, but he came to present to our chapter earlier this year too, which our chapter is having its 70th year anniversary this year. 1956. And of course, we're excited to welcome our president-elect, Sarah Maston. Sarah, we look forward to your leadership and the future of our organization under your guidance. Most importantly, thank you to each of you for being here because ASHRAE would not exist without you. Enjoy the rest of your conference, enjoy your time in Austin, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you, Cameron. Now with our election results, please welcome ASHRAE Executive Vice President and Secretary, Jeff Littleton.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. So we asked members to vote on two items in the member ballot that was sent just a few months ago. The first was the election of society officers and directors. And since we only provide one name for each position, it can only be shocking that those were indeed the folks that were elected. In fact, 98% of the 2,284 members that responded to the ballot successfully chose the one name that was provided for each position. And in fairness, the names that appeared on the ballot were selected by the Society's nominating committee and from caucuses at the CRCs. And as always, any member can write in any candidate for any office. I'm certain that our newly minted board members and board directors and officers are relieved that they made it through this hotly contested election, and we will have the chance to meet them later in our program. So I won't name them now, but allow me to be the first to congratulate all of our new officers and directors on their new positions. The second item on the ballot was approval of the bylaws changes that will simplify the ASHRAE membership structure. Changes in the bylaws require a 2/3 majority, not a simple majority, of those responding to the ballot in order to pass. In this ballot, 91.8% of responding members supported the changes, the new bylaws, and those bylaws are now official. The changes in the membership structure that were enabled by those bylaw changes will be implemented in the next renewal cycle, making them effective July 1st of 2027. Sincere thanks to all members that participated in the spring ballot. Thank you very much.
And now I'd like to bring up Bill McQuaid, ASHRAE President for 25-26. All yours.
ASHRAE is proud to recognize the retiring members of the Board of Directors. Through years of involvement and service, these officers have honorably served the society and the welfare of the public at large. Please accept my sincere appreciation for your hard work and tireless commitment toward supporting ASHRAE's mission through your service. As I call your names, please join me on the stage. Devin Abellin, Vice President. Ken Falk, Vice President. Scott Peach, Director and Regional Chair, Region 7. Joe Sanders, Director and Regional Chair, Region 8. Jonathan Smith, Director and Regional Chair, Region 9. Buzz Wright, Director and Regional Chair, Region 10. Maru Eftekari, Director and Regional Chair, Region 14. Doug Cochran, Director at Large. Martin Derricks, Director at Large. And Corey Metzger, Director at Large. Now I have the pleasure of introducing and installing a new group of women and men as members of ASHRAE's Board of Directors. They were elected by the entire membership because they have demonstrated through the years of involvement and service their ability to serve the society and the welfare of the public at large. When your name is called, please come on the stage to receive your Board of Directors pin. Our new ASHRAE officers and directors are as follows. Carrie Kelty, Director and Regional Chair, Region 7. Keith Reel, Director and Regional Chair, Region 8. Dan Russell, Director and Regional Chair, Region 9. Colin Leisurepool, Director and Regional Chair, Region 10. Russell Levitt, Director and Regional Chair, Region 11. Russell. Eduardo Maldonado, Director and Regional Chair, Region 14. Martin Derricks, Director at Large. Krishnan Gowri, Director at Large. Philza Waters, Director at Large. Blake Ellis, Vice President. Maru Eftekari, Vice President. Wade Conlon, Treasurer. Ashish Rakeja, President-elect. And Sarah Maston, President. I was told to keep moving and not to pin them all, so. You have been elected to your positions by the ASHRAE membership. As members of the ASHRAE Board of Directors, you have accepted an obligation to provide leadership through fiduciary and strategic governance of this organization. As you debate the issues of the day, there will be differences of opinion. However, despite these differences, you must respect the other members of the board and the membership of ASHRAE. You must trust in the collective wisdom of the board and support each other as we move ASHRAE forward. I now charge you to carry forth the mission of the Society, to serve humanity by advancing the arts and sciences of heating, ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration, and their allied fields. The new officers of the 2026-27 Society Year are now installed. Congratulations. I'm going to have Sarah stop right here. So it is customary for the current ASHRAE president to pass the ASHRAE presidential pin to the incoming ASHRAE president. I would like to take my pin and give it to Sarah.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate your dedicated leadership throughout the Society Year. Through your Healthy Buildings Designing for Life theme, you elevated the importance of indoor environmental quality and reinforced the vital connection between healthy buildings and human well-being. At this time, I would like to recognize Bill's service as our ASHRAE president for the 2025-26 Society Year by presenting him with this presidential member pin. Again, thank you for your leadership and commitment to our great society.
And now it is my privilege to introduce someone who, over the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity and privilege to work with very closely, and whom I am proud to call a friend. Our incoming ASHRAE president, Sarah Maston. As chair of Sarah's Presidential Advisory Committee, I've had a front row seat to her preparation for this moment. There were many times these 2 years felt like they would never arrive, and other times that it felt like they were racing towards us faster than Kylian Mbappe. Through it all, Sarah remained focused on developing her vision for our industry, always centered on teamwork, determination, and progress. Values that will serve ASHRAE well as we navigate our society's future. Over the coming year, ASHRAE will continue embracing emerging technologies, advancing important initiatives, and finding new ways to serve our members. It's an exciting time for our society, and I can think of no one better prepared to lead us forward than Sarah. One of the things I've always appreciated about Sarah is her logical approach to problem solving. She is thoughtful, level-headed, and incredibly intelligent. Or as they say where she's from in the Boston area, she's wicked smart. Now, Sarah's also extremely competitive. Whether it's in business, family game night, or sports, she always wants to win. And while many of us know her as an engineer and leader, what you may not know about her is that she's remarkably talented at football. The global kind, not the Texas kind. Sorry, Cameron. At a recent RALCRC sports night, Sarah impressed everyone with her skills on the pitch. In fact, she was so good that Mick Schwedler and Jeff Littleton were suddenly dealing with injuries and needed Sarah to step in for them during the shootout. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. And if you doubt her competitive spirit, just take a look at this photo on the screen and you'll see that not only does she strive to conquer any challenge put in front of her, but she does it with an intoxicatingly positive attitude. But beyond all the accomplishments, intelligence, and competitive drive, the quality I believe defines Sarah most is her commitment to teamwork. She generally loves being part of a team and helping others succeed. In fact, when we were forming her President-elect Advisory Committee, she was so enthusiastic about bringing different perspectives that she insisted on finding a way to include 16 people on the 9-person committee, all of whom were more than willing to be part of Sarah's team. To me, that tells you everything you need to know about Sarah Maston. She believes that great things happen when talented people come together around a common purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 2026-2027 President of ASHRAE, my friend Sarah Maston.
Nice. Sports, games, teams. How many of us grew up playing sports? For fun? For competition? Some of my favorite memories growing up were from the summers when my family lived in Wisconsin. The kids in my neighborhood loved playing basketball in the driveway, baseball in the street, and soccer in the backyard. I was a competitive kid, and sports were a great outlet for my energy. I loved most sports, but soccer quickly became my favorite. I started playing in a local league when I was 5 years old, and over the years, I grew to love the challenge of the competition. By the time I was 10 years old, I played for the Warriors, a team coached by my dad's work colleague. My dad would often come and watch the end of practice and talk with the coach. And every practice ended the same way, with a hill charge. We'd sprint up the big hill at the park where we practiced as fast as we could. The coach would give us a head start, but then would chase us, trying to pass us up before we reached the top. Well, one day, my dad showed up and the two started talking. He called us over to do that hill charge, and we took off. Now, I don't know if that conversation went extra long or if we were just really motivated, but as we neared the top, my teammates and I realized Coach hadn't passed us yet. I glanced back, and he was coming up hard, but I thought I could beat him. I dug deep, and I pushed harder, and that day, I did. Victory after so many tries. Persistence paid off. I did it. Challenges in life come in all shapes and sizes. Short-handed goals, 4th down and 12 to go. Sports teach us resilience, perseverance, and how to push through challenges. These same lessons apply to more than just sports, though, because today we're facing one of the greatest challenges of our time, climate change. We're seeing more extreme weather, floods, wildfires, droughts, hurricanes. These events test us, our communities, our buildings, and our infrastructure. Now, we design buildings with data that shows us how many days a year are over 95 degrees, 95 degrees, or below zero, where floodplains are located, what wind speeds can be expected. But what happens when those conditions exceed those expectations, when outliers become common. In those moments, buildings fail. People are displaced, and communities are disrupted. And it takes time and money to rebuild and reestablish them. In an effort to slow down these climate changes, ASHRAE has committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. But here's the reality. 80% of the buildings that will exist in 2050 are already here today. So the question becomes, what can we do to make those buildings more energy efficient, more resilient, and more sustainable? Many buildings are already struggling with aging systems, deferred maintenance, and limited budgets. These issues don't just affect energy use, but they also impact occupant health, comfort, and safety. Now, to be clear, ASHRAE has been providing leadership and guidance in energy efficiency, indoor air quality, and carbon emissions reduction. So, where do we go from here? This year, ASHRAE will focus on 3 key areas. Increased awareness of the importance of building codes and their role in resilience. The importance of cross-functional teams and creating a game plan to improve building operations. And gamification of education, so we can continue to attract the brightest minds to tackle the dilemmas we face. Let's break these down one at a time. Codes, understanding the rules of the game. In sports, you can't play if you don't understand the rules of the game, like the positions on a field, what is out of bounds, and how to score a point. And if you don't know the rules, you are less likely to join in. Building codes are our industry's rules, but they're not always simple or consistent. They can vary by country, by state, and even by municipality. Some regions adopt the latest standards, while others lag behind. And in some parts of the world, codes don't exist at all. Now, why is that important? Because history shows us that updating standards, like 90.1 shown on the screen, increases energy efficiency in buildings that have adopted the latest version of the standard. According to the status report, around the globe, roughly half of new buildings constructed each year are built without mandatory energy codes or performance standards. That's about 2.5 billion square meters built without consistent requirements for efficiency or resilience. And because buildings last for decades, those decisions lock in higher emissions and lower resilience for years to come. Defining resilience for existing buildings is a complicated issue, which is why many building industry experts are needed to create a solid plan. ASHRAE is currently working to support code development, adoption, and implementation. Through tools like the Building Code Assessment Tool, we're helping jurisdictions understand their current position and then create practical, locally appropriate paths forward. Because if we want resilient buildings, we need strong, well-understood rules of the game. Teamwork, building the right game plan. Now, when I face challenges in my work life, like when I land a new project type that I've never done before, I think about the other members of my ASHRAE team who are subject matter experts. I call them up, I ask questions, and I learn from them. We can't all be experts at everything, but together we can be. We can talk through it, define the issues, and brainstorm for solutions. Now, when I think about teamwork, I think about being part of something bigger than myself. I think about belonging. My family moved several times when I was growing up, and being the new kid was never easy. But soccer gave me a place where I immediately felt like I belonged. The hardest move for me came during my first year of high school, when we relocated from suburban to Chicago to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, two very different cultures. I dreaded moving for many reasons, but most of all, because I didn't have a soccer team to look forward to. You see, I had been devastated to learn that the high school I would be attending didn't offer girls soccer as a varsity sport. The one place I knew how to connect was gone. But luckily, within a month of our move, the district approved a new girls team. I tried out, made the team, and found my place again as the center defender or the sweeper. I was so happy to be able to play the sport that I loved again. Now, the first years were tough. We played stronger, more established teams, and we lost way more than we won. But we kept improving. We learned how to communicate and to trust each other and how to play as a team. And by my senior year, we went undefeated and not only won our league, but a teammate and I were selected for the all-state girls soccer team for Pennsylvania. What changed wasn't just our skill level, but it was how we worked together. The same is true for buildings. In most sports, a coach creates a game plan or a strategy before the competition that typically plays to that team's strengths. However, if you aren't winning by the midpoint of the contest, the coach may rethink that plan in response to the other team's play. Games aren't won by skill alone. Strategy is the key, and a team's ability to see the challenges ahead and adjust accordingly is what leads to success. There is no one-size-fits-all solution or game plan for retrofitting buildings. Every building has its own constraints: mechanical systems, budgets, operational needs. Also, financial constraints or utility infrastructure can play a part in deciding the game plan or resilient strategy of a building. And that's why teamwork is absolutely essential. Owners, operators, architects, engineers, manufacturers, utilities, financiers, and code officials all have a role to play. And together, they create the game plan. Existing building commissioning is one of the most effective ways to do this. Understand the current conditions, build the right team, implement the improvements, and continuously monitor and adjust. Because just like in sports, success isn't just about skill, it's about strategy, adaptability, and collaboration. Education, building the bench through gamification. Now, I've been in the building industry for nearly 30 years, and I have found very few people planned to be here. Most didn't know what the acronym HVAC even stood for before they started school. I didn't. I took an HVAC class in college as an elective because I was working toward a minor in energy systems, and the class fit into my schedule. That one decision changed my career path. HVAC&R wasn't my first job, but it was my second, and I only pursued it because it was familiar. Now, there are some colleges and universities that offer a degree program focused on HVAC&R, but many don't. So fewer engineers know that buildings can offer a challenging and rewarding career. Today, we face a growing challenge: fewer engineers entering the field, a wave of retirement, and increasingly complex buildings. Now, as buildings are designed to be more efficient and leaning toward net zero, they are inherently more complicated to operate and maintain, requiring more qualified technicians that don't yet exist. We need new ways to attract and train talent. Now, a few years ago, I read an article about how back in 2017, the US Navy replaced expensive joystick controllers on their periscopes with Xbox controllers. Why, you might ask? Well, the first reason was cost. A $38,000 joystick assembly versus a $30 video game controller. Obvious, right? The second reason, though, was reduced training time. Training went from being weeks long to minutes because it used a platform that young sailors were already familiar with. They put new concepts into a familiar context. And that idea really stuck with me. So this year, ASHRAE is doing something different. We're launching an interactive educational platform, a video game. Players take on the role of a building operator, responding to maintenance issues, improving system performance, reducing energy use, and lowering carbon emissions. And along the way, they learn how buildings work and how ASHRAE standards apply. It's engaging, it's practical, and it meets the next generation where they are. Now, playing sports throughout my life has taught me many lessons, but the lessons that stayed with me were discipline, perseverance, and teamwork. How to get up after being knocked down, working together for a common goal, and practicing a new skill multiple times before getting it right. This year, we are going to build on the work of our immediate past presidents, our teammates, as we strive to move the work of ASHRAE forward. In the last 3 years, Ginger Scoggins encouraged us to accept the challenge of decarbonization as we continue to see climate events that challenge our resilience. Dennis Knight focused on ways that we can support workforce development by looking at the types and content of the technical training that we offer. And this past year, Bill McQuaid emphasized the importance of indoor environmental quality, that as we work to make our buildings more resilient, we need to remember the importance of providing a healthy and comfortable indoor environment. Now it is my turn to take the lessons we have learned and apply them to the difficulties that building owners face today. We need to figure out how Team ASHRAE, with its wealth of knowledge and educational offerings, can help create a game plan to make existing buildings more efficient, healthy, and resilient. This year, we are going to focus on codes, technical guidance, and building our team. So let's talk about these initiatives. Number one, strengthening resilience through codes, development, and training. As I mentioned earlier, codes are complex, but they are essential to resilience. This year, we are expanding our outreach to code officials and governments. In regions with existing codes, we will help identify the training and tools needed to support enforcement and encourage adoption of updated standards. We also recognize that retrofits can trigger costly compliance requirements. So part of this effort is helping stakeholders better navigate those challenges. In regions without codes, we will work with governments to understand local barriers and to support the development of practical, effective frameworks that improve resilience and occupant health. To support this, ASHRAE's Center of Excellence for Building Decarbonization has developed the Building Code Assessment Tool, or the BCATS, a structured process that helps jurisdictions assess climate risk, construction practices, workforce capacity, and enforcement, and then define a realistic, locally driven path forward. BCAT is already making an impact with pilot workshops in Kenya and Lebanon, and additional efforts underway in India and in Brazil. Well-trained, engaged code officials are critical members of the team and essential to improving building performance worldwide. Resilience Guidance Game Plan. Existing building commissioning provides a practical, all-inclusive approach to improve existing building performance. It starts with understanding where you are, assessing your equipment condition, deferred maintenance, and energy and carbon goals. Next, build the right team and a deep bench, including owners, designers, operators, manufacturers, utilities, financiers, and code officials. These partners are essential to defining and achieving resilience. Then, put the plan into action. Evaluate system performance, verify sequences, and implement monitoring-based commissioning to gather data and refine your approach over time. ASHRAE guidance is plentiful, which is a blessing and a curse, because sometimes finding it can be difficult. So we are building a new landing page, one place for owners, operators, designers, and supporting team members to find and reference these documents. It includes your ASHRAE favorites, including Guideline 0.2, 1.2, 1.3, and Standard 100, to name a few. Now, after reviewing the applicable guidance, identify and implement facility improvement measures, working with partners to improve performance and maximize the return on investment. Because resilience isn't a one-time effort, but an ongoing strategy. Education by gamification, building our bench. I have heard many people say that they fell into the building industry. And as an industry, we have struggled with an effective way to attract and train new engineers and to continue to train building operators in energy-efficient practices. In addition, we have identified that we have a shortage of people who understand how buildings work. So, how do we communicate what the game plan is? By putting it in a context that they understand. By explaining what the expectations are, identifying operators as part of the team, and by coaching them step by step on the actions that need to be taken and why. ASHRAE has been developing extraordinary and timely technical information for decades, but historically, we have left the implementation and delivery of said information to others, sometimes to our detriment. So this year, we are changing the game. We have developed a video game that is both engaging and educational. You will be a facility manager working to answer maintenance calls while trying to lower your building's energy use and carbon footprint with the timely hints from Muggy that you will receive along the way. You will be able to navigate around the building, click on systems and equipment to learn more about them, and learn about relevant ASHRAE standards and guidelines, which will remind you about key concepts including energy efficiency and indoor air quality. You will compete with your friends to see who can be the fastest and most cost-effective facility manager given different variables. Also this year, thanks to the generosity of Presidential Member Gordon Holness, we will be continuing the Presidential Initiative Challenge. This year's theme will focus on decarbonization retrofits of existing buildings. You can apply on the website, but don't delay. The deadline is November 2nd, and the YAY Committee will be holding an informational webinar in September, so stay tuned. So, you may say, this is all great information, but what can I do? I want you to join the team and get in the game. As I said earlier, the best teams play to the strengths of their team members. However, if one person tries to dribble all the way up the field, they face many confrontations. Knowing when to pass the ball to a teammate is really important. So, if you are an educator, you are our first line of defense. You are introducing future professionals to an industry that is fast-paced, impactful, and exciting. Get in the game. If you are a building owner or operator, share data on your operations, ask questions about your systems, and work with the team to improve efficiency, comfort, and air quality. Get in the game. And if you are an architect or engineer, your insight is critical. Bridge the gap between design intent and real-world performance. Your experience is key to integrating updates without disrupting daily operations. That's what we're talking about. And if you are a manufacturer, assist the team by providing existing equipment capacities and operational parameters. Help the team understand new technologies. There we go. If you are a code official, your role ensures compliance with codes and meeting performance expectations. Understand the retro commissioning process from planning and investigation through implementation and verification to help raise the bar for resilience. And if you are a commissioning provider, I liken our position to the sweeper on the field because we see the whole field. Use that troubleshooting experience to help owners develop a smart game plan that accounts for known restrictions to meet long-term sustainability and resilience goals. You guys are awesome. Put on your coach's hat. One of the most meaningful roles I've had, besides being a parent, is being a coach. I coached my kids' soccer teams for years. Coaching isn't just about teaching skills. It's about helping people learn how to think, adapt, and act on their own. In the real world, just like on the pitch, there isn't always time to wait for instructions from the sidelines. We make the best decisions that we can with the information that we have and go. It's okay to make a mistake, but learn from it and move on. And when the world throws you a curveball, don't panic. Adapt, adjust, and play with confidence. I fully acknowledge that I don't have all the answers, but I show up. I listen, I learn, I try new things. Occasionally I fall down, but I get right back up again. So this year, I encourage all of you to put on your coach's hat. Meet our building industry partners where they are. Listen, collaborate, try new approaches. And when the challenge comes, run up that hill as a team and encourage everyone to dig deep to meet the trials ahead. Embrace the challenge and change the game. Thank you. Now, you may have noticed that there's something on the table. So now we want everyone to get in the game. At your place, you will find a little purple ribbon that says Game Changer that you can add to your conference badge. Oh, look, we even got it on the screen. Oh, no, it's just my screen. Now I'd like to take a moment to recognize the generous donors who have made ASHRAE HVAC Hero possible. This interactive educational platform was made possible through the support of our premier donor, Daikin, along with sponsors Vertiv and the ASHRAE Foundation. I invite all of our donor representatives to please join me on the stage as I introduce them. Representing Daikin, Philip Johnston and Trevor Bailey. Thanks so much. Thank you. Just have you guys. Yep, perfect. There's Jim. There he is. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know what I think? We have Tiff. Representing Vertiv, Tiff Gannon and Sarah Hitt. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sarah, oh, right. Just like this. How's that?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And representing the ASHRAE Foundation, Don Colliver and Michael Cooper.
Thank you. Thanks. Give here. Here, I'll stand. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being part of the team and for all you do to advance our industry. Before I turn things back over to Chris, I hope you'll join me tomorrow in the gaming area of the Members Lounge to play ASHRAE HVAC Hero. Everyone is welcome to stop by, and I'd love to see you there. Back to you, Chris.
Join me in the center.
Yeah, right. Thanks for reminding me.
Sarah, thank you so much for that inspiring speech. I can't wait to be part of your team. Put me in, coach. I want to be a game changer. All right, as we close out, I want to once again thank you, SGBC, for sponsoring today's event. I also have the playbook for each and every one of you. Remember, tomorrow, noon, Members Lounge, for the game. Everyone gets a chance to play it, and I want to see a show of hands for everyone that's going to be there.
Yep.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful day, and let's give Sarah another round of applause.